Hey guys, welcome back to another review in the Halloween franchise, and today I'm reviewing the brand new Halloween film, Halloween. I'm sorry for the late video. I did watch this opening day. Watched it with my sister. You can see the pictures here. We had a good time, but I will say this film did disappoint me a bit, but it's still a good film. So yeah, let's get into this review of Halloween 2018. So Halloween 2018 is directed by David Gordon Green and is written by him and Danny McBride and stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and Nick Castle. When Laurie Strode comes to her final confrontation with Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since she narrowly escaped his killing spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago. So I'm going to start off with my negatives because this film did disappoint me, but there are quite a few positives with this film as well. It's just I want to end this on a positive note. Um, so yeah, let's get into my negatives. It does drag a little bit and takes a while to get to where we want to get. And also the new Loomis and what they do with this character. I hated his character and the fact that they actually named that Laurie Strode actually calls him the new Loomis. I did not like this. I did not think he's a good replacement as a new Loomis, but he did do a pretty good job up until a certain point, which I hated, and I just hated his character afterwards. I think Judy Greer as Laurie's daughter and her husband don't really do much for this film, and really just they take me out of the film, But at the end, I did start to like Judy Greer's character at the very end. I'm just like, oh, I do think some of the humor does make me cringe a bit. Some of them just don't work, especially Laurie's daughter's husband. His humor just, oh my god, it made me cringe. But I'm not saying that they did a bad job. They did an all right job. It's just the fact that I didn't really care for them as characters. Um, but Judy Greer's character does pick up at the very end, which I love this. And there's a whole scene about cops talking about their lunch. I didn't really care for that, and I thought that was unneeded. Like, we could have got more story time with Laurie's granddaughter in this instead of the cops, or, a certain scene could have gone on longer, but some characters I could have done without, like with Laurie's daughter and her husband, and some of Laurie's granddaughter's friends. And I do feel like this film does change tone a bit. Like sometimes, I think, am I supposed to be laughing? Am I supposed to be scared? Am I supposed to be frightened by this jump scare? And then it leads to some humor. I did not like the tone of this as a whole film at all. But there's certain times where I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. Well, with all that being said, let's move on to my positives because there are quite a few, even though this film was disappointing. I love Michael Myers in this, and he is brutal as shit. He's the most brutal he's been since the Rob Zombie films, but I'm talking like before then. This is the most brutal he's been since Curse of Michael Myers. And I love the mask in this. It looks awesome. Like, if the original mask aged, this is what it looked like. And I do feel like it actually looks like William Shatner now, so I thought that was awesome. And it's nice to see James Jude Courtney as Michael Myers and see Nick Castle in certain scenes, I don't know which scenes it is, but they both did an amazing job, so that's awesome. And I do like that we see more of Michael unmasked. Like, you don't see his whole face, but you do see his eye when he got stabbed with the clothes hanger in part one. That was awesome. Like, he has the scar and everything, and it just looks awesome. You see part of that, and he's almost bald. It's just, I loved seeing that. The little black kid and his babysitter, their conversations were funny as hell. It's like the only humor that did work. I loved that little kid in this. It was so funny. Even when a certain death scene happens, there's humor in it, but I did laugh during then. Even though I do think it was unneeded, but it was still pretty funny. Jamie Lee Curtis's performance in this was outstanding. She was one of the best parts of this film, and I feel like she reminds me, and I know a lot of people have said this already, but she does remind me of Sarah Connor in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which I love that film. I hate that I don't own it, but I need to own it. But it does make me wonder what they're going to do with Sarah Connor and the new Terminator film that's coming out November of 2019, even though that promotional picture didn't really hype me up, but whatever. Laurie's granddaughter in this does amazing. This is her first film, and I think she does pretty damn good. Like, when it's not focusing on Laurie Strode, and it's focusing on her granddaughter. I really liked her characters. You know, her friends I didn't really care for, even though that love interest she has. Here, I think he's in The Purge, and I like him in that so far. I've only seen a few episodes, but I do like his character in that, even though he's a bit, you know, off. I'm just like, this dude, there's something wrong with this dude, but I wouldn't mind watching him again. And seeing him in this was a bit different, but I'm noticing that, you know, he could be in more horror films. So I'm excited to see him in whatever stuff. I don't like his character, but him as an actor so far, I like his stuff. So I can't wait to see him. And if there are further sequels in this franchise and her granddaughter has to lead the way, I'm totally fine with that. I feel like this film has very brutal and creative kills with certain characters. I just love them. Like some of them are, you know, just normal hack and slash slasher kills, but I did love some of them. They're just pretty awesome and neat. The gore is great as well. I love it. And a certain person's death had me grinning ear to ear, but I can't spoil that. I do feel like this film is very suspenseful and had me on the edge of my seat at times. And I do like the opening credits, like it's sort of like a recreation, of the first Halloween. And to hear that score, you know, for the first time in theaters, that was awesome. I loved it. It's just goosebumps went throughout my body. It was awesome, and the cinematography and the score throughout the film is great. the The film is very beautiful, and there's certain cues in this film that you've never heard before. But it's just, I love the score on this. I would love to have a vinyl or like a CD of the soundtrack. That would be so awesome. And last but not least, I do love the ending to this film. Can't ruin it for you guys. I can't spoil it for you guys because it's a spoil free review. I might do a spoil filled review, but I loved the ending to this. Even though it was a recreation of a certain one and they do things different, even though it's sort of a rehash of certain things we've seen, but it's still badass in my opinion. And a certain thing that Judy Greer's character does, I was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, yeah. I thought that was awesome. And I just, this film was good, but it was disappointing. So, with all that being said, I will give Halloween 2018 a 7.5 out of 10. I hope this film grows on me because there are certain things that they do right, and there's certain things that just, humor doesn't work, the tone overall doesn't work. Some characters I could have done without, and this film just feels very modern. I know it's a modern film, but it's just, it feels different. Like me and my sister, we both enjoyed it, but she was like, "Yeah, it was different." I'm just like, "Yeah, it was different." So, with all that being said, don't be scared to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It'd be highly appreciated. And peace.